Hello and welcome. My name is Faye. You are at Your Heart's Path, and I'm here to deliver a channeled energetic reading for the month of April. And may I say, what a relief it is that we are currently transitioning through a very new and revitalizing, potentially, energy that is very different to the month of April. April was feeling super fatiguing, very exhausting, and emotionally just quite almost overwhelming. I feel like as soon as this we clicked into the month of April, it was very profound, it was very quick and very noticeable, this transition that we've been experiencing over the last week. And I want to spend the next chunk of time having a look at what themes I feel like we're going to be traveling throughout the month of April, how that can best support you, bring you some clarity, give you some tips, some tools so that you can apply it into your world, your zone, as a means to travel with this energy empowered in the best way that you possibly can to make the most out of this time. When I initially tuned into this energy this morning, the first image that kind of came through clairvoyantly was a picture of the Fool card. I love this energy for this month as it really feels, it felt really true. It's all about new beginnings, this feeling of almost like, I want to say, this tendency to almost feel slightly inexperienced into the steps that we are taking, but I like this because it sort of feels like new territory. There's also this feeling like we have an opportunity to practice our deepened faith or trust with the universe. There's this not really having huge expectations, but taking risks to move into an experience of like newness and new beginnings. It really has felt like a brand new experience. And today I want to focus on a few different pieces or different themes that I feel like we're going to be traveling for the entirety of this month. And I want to start with the essence of passion. Passion and action intertwined with our vision. Our vision is something that in the moment, if you've spent January, February, March, and this first chunk of the year getting really super clear about your vision, you are 100% stepping into that and taking action. I almost want to say like on a daily basis now, because it's landed enough that you have this structure and foundation inside of your vision, that you have like a little bit of a schedule almost that you are following with a knowing of what direction you're sort of going in. And this energy is really hugely going to support you. It feels like there's a lot of good luck to come from this if you are kind of taking these healthy risks and plugging away at your vision. Some of this can feel like, face down, bum up, let's get the work done. But I do really feel like this is connected to a deeper sense of purpose. It feels more enlightening and exciting, so the heart is much more easily involved. And I just feel like every little step that's taken in this direction is it feels unloaded. So even though we're moving into the apex of this vision and we'll be traveling, we may not get there to the end of the month. It feels like months in building. We have a bit more of a realistic map as to how much energy this actually involves, what it means to show up to your vision, when you are in sync or out of sync. And it just feels like the triggers that potentially can keep, maybe previously have taken you off in a different direction because of the self-doubt or the lack of self-esteem or confidence. It feels like you're willing to give this a new go. So I really do feel in alignment with this. We have a new sense of self-esteem, a new essence of confidence. There's this, I want to say, like, it feels like a deeper element of like self-respect, respecting yourself, but also respecting your vision, what it takes to actually achieve the goals that you want to achieve here. And the emphasis of this feels a little bit more realistic. There's going to be joy involved in this, but it's also, we're aware that there can be challenges and hurdles involved in this piece as well. And there's kind of a little bit more of a, this doesn't have to be something that's like super hugely in the clouds all the time and woohoo joyful. It kind of feels a little bit more like this plugging away. We're not really expecting huge, big, profound wows. And I like that. It actually feels super grounded. And I feel like, well done if you're being really, really realistic with your vision, but you're also managing to stay focused. Luck is like really deeply connected to this. Opportunities coming in, new opportunities being offered to you, that whether that be in the midst of collaboration, whether it be around travel, whether it be sort of sharing a different piece of you inside of your vision that wants to come through. It feels like the energy is there to really support that. So if you are with your vision, you know what that is. If you're struggling to take action, I feel like just come back to the basics, go back to your morning routine. What can you do to kind of come into alignment first thing in the morning? The only reason I feel like that'll be off balance now is if we have the emotional body sort of get a little bit too in control. So something in the morning that allows for you to check in with your emotional body, shift what you need to shift, and those sort of feelings and those sensations and emotions feel a bit more like frustration. They feel a bit more like restlessness. They feel a little bit like too far in the future, and they can also be derailed a little bit through like intimate relationships consuming. It's sort of like if we don't deal with these things here, then they start to come into the space here. So it's all okay, you know, we're practicing this. This is the art of becoming I want to say like becoming into mastery. It's all good to experience these things, but it's your job and your role to kind of catch yourself in the morning and know that the energy is here to support action right now. So if you feel like, oh God, I'm not really feeling this, I'm feeling all out of sorts, what are you going to do in order to bring yourself back into center? And you can still take action from that space. It might not mean that your emotional body is 100% woohoo. This is where I don't expect you to be 100% all the time throughout this month. The fluctuation piece is there, but we can still take action with these emotions when we kind of apply that balance that allows for us to sit back in the heart. In regards to vision, if you don't have a big vision right now, and that doesn't all have to be work related or service related or, you know, this sort of hugely humanitarian role, it can be very dedicated to your family vision. It can be dedicated to your health. It can be really dedicated to moving and home and where you want to set up your life. These are all still huge, big chunks of our vision. We have the tendency to kind of put this all in the brackets of career and service work, but please allow for your vision, if this is not your focus right now, to be okay to allow it to stem into other areas and cultivate a vision if you don't already have one. Vision boards came in really strong. They've been something I've been working with in my personal life, and I friggin' love them. They are just so nice to see this tangible image and picture. When we are unsure or unclear or we're feeling stuck in the mud, we want some piece of action to kind of get the momentum going. So a simple vision on your vision board, such as the sun, that represents inspiration, warmth, love, excitement, waking up early in the morning and applying your morning routine. It can be as simple as these little things. Images tell 1,000 words, and I love the process of actually getting clear about the vision. So you might like to dedicate a piece of your bedroom or a space in your home where you start to actually pop visions, words, and pictures into this space so as that you can start to become clear with your vision. So take action with your vision if you don't already have one. If you do, keep plugging away, because this energy of passion and fire right now is like so nice, and it's so quick and easy to drop into your why right now. We've traveled deeply through this essence of meaning and this feeling and sensation of what it means to be on your mission and following through with your vision. And so we have this beautiful awareness within this passion, and to kind of understand that when we are pushing against our vision or what it is we've asked for or called for, that it's kind of just an old layer coming up. And I feel like we can kind of burn away old layers very quickly right now. There was something that came in regards to the emotional body around relationships that I want to address. If relationships have been, and you're in an intimate relationship and you've been working over something or working through a hurdle over the last 6 months, and you've kind of come in and out and done different layers, feels like we're really on the final piece of that, where it feels like you'll be tested, and the response to that experience or the resolution of that feels like it's very likely, and the resolution, whatever that is for you, it's sort of like it feels like there's an element of completion there. So undealt with, it can manifest like frustration, irritation. It starts to become a big energy that wants your attention. So do spend time having a look at that if that's something that's been affecting your emotional body. I want to transition from the relationship piece. If you are in the dating scene, if you're calling in a lover, I really did feel like towards the end of last month, there was like a big alignment in the stars, like souls being pulled together, people wanting to relocate, move to new places. I really feel like those that have been calling in their soulmate are going to start to action this month. So dating's on the scene. It feels like taking healthy risks, going and experiencing new things, dance classes, whatever it is. I kind of feel like just get out there. get out there with this beautiful energy that takes away this feeling of expectation, you're much more likely just to show up as you are and kind of just go for the ride. And it feels like luck is involved here. So it's a really beautiful time if you are in that process of wanting to start something fresh and start a new relationship. Yeah, I want to say, like, I've got really good feelings about all of that. Emergence is this other word, this other theme that I want to travel through a little bit. Emergence of energy, which is connected to this passion, but it's like an emergence of a new layer or a newfound piece of you that's been sitting there, like hovering, like here, that's like now stepped in. And it's like, okay, we're kind of giving this, and this voice being something that's really positive, whether you want to call it an aspect of the higher mind or the higher self, whether that's be more of the enlightened heart, the one that is like, okay, I'm here on a mission. This voice feels really strong and loud this month, which means that the cogniance piece, like this trusting and the knowing, is also going to back this up. I feel like there's a lot more trust and surrender. And in the energy of emergence, again, it's kind of feels like this birthing energy, but we're birthing into something already feeling, it's almost again like this feeling of without expectation, but I feel like it's like been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming to emerge. It's been a long time coming to start this thing. It's been a long time coming to finish this book. It's been a long time coming to say goodbye to this piece of my life that no longer resonates with me. This emergence can be starting to action your physical routine in a different way, an emergence into newfound hobbies and experiences. It's like emerging into these parts of you, what you have cleared up. Space has been sort of released. We have all of this space to kind of fill up. And I feel like you are filling this energy up with this new you. And I love this new you, but this new you also might feel like it wants a little bit of support and time to kind of retreat as well, because it can feel kind of overwhelming in a nice way, but also kind of wants to go, okay, like, let me just kind of settle this in and let me settle this experience that I just had. You know, I went on a date and this happened and let the body kind of sink into this and make sure we're still feeling, make sure we're still allowing for this energy to stop and simmer. The stop and simmer is actually the feeling or the word that I want to say, so that we can sort of process it and allow for the calmness to kick in after we have these spurts of like this emergence expansion. We kind of, I don't want to say retraction, but just this like settling back in. Fire is something that gets really hot and can be really intense on the immune system. I want to say like inflammation and these sorts of things, heat actually cultivating in the body, even though the seasons have changed, feels like something that wants to still be able to be released. So any sort of practices that can come in and cool the physical body down, that also will cool down the emotional body, feels really important. So it's like balancing fire with water. That can be visualization techniques. You know that I love all of that. The alchemy side of things, visualizing rain, using water to wash your body, cold showers, different sorts of teas. I know like peppermint teas and other things, they have like a cooling response on the internal system. And then working with things that feel cooler to you. So blue is something that I use for coolness and calmness. It might be something that I visualize and place inside of my body and my being. If I feel like my fire is getting a little bit too much, and too muchness is okay. I actually really love this energy for too muchness. I feel like there'll be moments throughout this month where you kind of say things or do things and there'll be this feeling of like, oh shit, should I have said that? But I like this. It feels like the weirder the better. I actually really feel like this fiery Aries energy is kind of game to try anything new, and this sort of feels like expression is involved in this piece as well. But we just want to make sure that we're still staying in the body, that we give this time to sort of cool down. So perhaps you could work with the vision of the fire throughout the month. You know, how big is my fire right now? Is this feeling good? And in the same way that you'd put a fire in the back of your yard and add logs to it when you want the flames to be bigger and more expanded and, you know, more energy, more heat, to kind of allowing it to drop off and poking it with the sticks and kind of, you know, like we sort of manage this right down to the point where you may have days where you just sort of have coals, you know, and with the coals, we're just sort of simmering. We're allowing, it can feel more like rest. Rest is a little more challenging in this energy, even if we actually do feel a little bit tired. Tired can happen, just it feels more like purely energetic and physical release of energy is causing like a quite a natural tired response, and this same feeling of like integration of this newness at the end of the day. So sleep feels really important, but can also be more challenging when the energy is really big. So what can you do to kind of bring your fire element in so it feels like it's nice and manageable? It might be that you just have that on the internals of your body, but throughout the day when you're in action mode, your flame is sort of filling up your field. It's something that you can play with. Perhaps you add your breath to kind of expand the fire and bring it down. And this coolness energy, I really do feel like just have some awareness there. There's a lot of fire in your interactions, your conversations with other people, whether that be through work, family relationships, etc. Same kind of thing. We want to be really mindful of reaction, and practicing this response piece. It actually doesn't feel like a very new energy. I feel like we've been working with this for quite a period of time, but we're really moving into a space now where we get to physically try this on. I think we've still been in reaction mode, and what we want to do now is start to really practice this response. Response doesn't all have to do with communication, but that's sort of where they're just highlighting it. This can also be to your environment or things not quite working out, or it sort of like feels like strange little glitches, not necessarily Mercury retrograde energy, but kind of power switching on and off, confusion, the printer might get jammed. It sort of feels a little bit like some of these energies where we kind of, the universe goes like, are you gonna lose your shit right now, or are you gonna come back to center and just... So kind of working with some of these, if you are in a position right now where there's not a lot happening for you and things don't feel like quite fast paced, channel your energy into physical exercise, again, creating this vision piece. And it feels like it almost, if it's not showing up in those other areas, it'll be showing up in health and well-being. How can I better take care of my body? What foods does my body need right now in order to generate more energy? Because if there's a sluggishness, a tiredness, and a pure exhaustion, it feels really like they're highlighting the physical body, and this is where it's manifesting from. So it doesn't necessarily feel like a cleansing time, but it feels like a tweaking time. And there's energy and passion, right? If you're anchoring into this healthier version of you to go, you know what, fuck it, I'm not doing that thing anymore. Excuse my French, I shouldn't swear, but I'm not going to do that thing anymore. I'm not going to participate in that experience or put that thing in my body, because I know enough that when I do that, this is the response. This is the reaction perhaps in my system. And if I don't, I might feel the emotional stuff come up, but the action, the passion is there to support you to actually start moving forward. So if you are kind of having health challenges at the moment, support's really great as always, but I do feel like there's an intuitive, like the intuition is speaking really super loud in this place right now. And the guidance can be really strong if we just actually place the awareness into the body and ask it, what is it that I need? What is it that I need? What is it that I need? So our focus is sort of very on vision. It's really I want you to make the most of this action-orientated energy. Yes, that also means taking time for rest. Yes, that means watching how big our flame gets and kind of knowing that you can sort of participate in some of this as well. But I also want to say, make sure that we are grounded. We're keeping the spirit inside of the body. Anything to do with the feet is going to be really helpful. I've spoken to you all about that before. We've got spots on the chakras on the bottoms of the feet. We have the Earth Star chakra that sits underneath. Spend a little bit of time, check out throughout the day, am I connected into the earth plane? We do want to remain here at the moment. And it feels a bit more easeful too, I must say. The spurts of anger felt like the first few days of this, and I do feel like it can raise its head in this emotional reaction energy. It's almost the anger's presenting itself like a little bit of a cheetah. We can kind of, with these little tiddly bits that feel frustrating, if not kind of monitored, can get a little bit out of control. So if you do have a bit of a temper or don't have a healthy means to express your anger, I would have a look into how that is something that could be more manageable. Cold showers seem to be a really beautiful piece to that, sounding, making noise. And I also just feel like this anger is this, underneath it, I want to say there's a feeling of like grief. And in this space, almost like a little bit of fear. So doing the work for what is underneath versus allowing it to sort of get up and out of control feels really good. I know we touched briefly on, I'm so excited about all of this, by the way. I'm just like, yes, we needed this. Like, we needed this really a lot. And I love this momentum forward. I really, really do. New opportunities to do, to be, and to have, to experience. It's like they are everywhere right now. So if you have areas of your life where you're not feeling content or you're not feeling like you're resonating, get out there and do something different. Do something different. Try a new hobby. Hobbies. Sounds like this weird word, and I know I bring it up a bit, but honestly, I feel like sometimes inside of the spiritual community, we can get so consumed in this work, in the self-development and all of the other pieces that is very specific to mental and emotional health, and we kind of forget the physical. No, that's not true. The physical body doesn't get forgotten. It's just looked at through a different lens. But this piece of just joy and fun and experiencing life feels very out of balance a lot of the time. And I just want to say, like, go do that thing. If somebody invites you somewhere and you kind of, that element or like that fear response comes up, like, oh, I'm not sure if I'd be comfortable there, or, you know, like the social anxiety piece, it kind of feels like that, or this like discomfort. I actually love this energy for stepping into a piece of discomfort, stepping into an environment that you wouldn't normally feel brave enough to. And I want to say the courage is here. There's like good luck bells involved around this experience of trying on some new things, visit new places. I feel like people are booking tickets to different, I want to say like travel feels like it's coming back online. There's been like a tendency to like want to go different places, experience different cultures, new food, new sensations, music. It's like we want this expansion right now and in alignment with the space of joy. So I bought myself a pole in my lounge room, and I've put it up, and I am loving just being totally like semi-spastic at it. I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm watching YouTube videos, and I'm like slowly stepping in, and I'm moving like a bit of, you know, I really don't know what I'm doing, whatever, but it's so much fun. I'm having so much joy in it. I like this beginner's mindset. I like this feeling of doing something different with my body. It also brings in this element of discipline, the discomfort, and all of that other stuff, but it's kind of not feeling like really heady. It's just like this bodily response where I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, I get it, but I'm going to keep going anyway. And it just feels like there's this like sexy energy around inside of new opportunities. And yeah, I just want to say, go for it. Go to an event, go and listen to some music, visit somewhere different, pick up the thing you've been talking about doing for a while, and just give it a crack, because it may be one of the best things that you've ever done. And when I say that, opportunities to meet new people, opportunities create more opportunities, and it just feels really, really delicious. Where do I want to go from here? I think we've like pretty much covered the information that I downloaded, so I might just check my notes. Feels good. Maybe I'll pick you a couple of cards as far as animal totems we can work with. The owl's been popping up a lot, which is really interesting. I do love the owl medicine. It's got a lot to do with, to me, when I read it and I communicate with the owls, they showed up right when my vision was really opening. They were very supportive with this piece. I like this being able to like see in the dark feeling, and this kind of, yeah, being able to see in the dark is kind of what I want to say. I know that I've come in with this energy of like, woo, everything's freaking awesome right now. It's awesome because we have action. We have energy to take action. It doesn't mean that you're not necessarily having experiences where life can feel pretty tough, feeling a little bit bogged down or worn out. But again, I feel like there is action in support with moving whatever it is that has surfaced for you. And because we can see in the dark, it's like, in that space or whatever it is that I'm experiencing, I know that there's light at the end of my tunnel, and I'm going to take some action to take better care of whatever it is that's going on for me right now. And that can mean calling in a whole support team in order to do so. I also feel like there's this element to want to divinate, play with magic, fire magic. It's working with the elements, and these sorts of pieces can be, they feel really deep right now. They feel deep in the respect that if you've been having a shitty time for a long period of time, now feels like this window into the opening. It's like I can see my way through now. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And so it's cultivating a bit of self-belief in that respect as well. Anything else that wants to come in around that, please? Can also mean both. It's like the parallels. They're saying some people have been spending a lot of time by themselves, and there's like an invitation to get out there and experience time with other people, into community experiences, group works, etc., marketplaces. I'm kind of seeing these like cobbled streets, and it's like experiencing culture. And then there's the opposite where you've been doing a lot of that, and there's this wanting or a desire to have some time for yourself, but it doesn't feel like months or weeks at a time. It actually just feels like a couple of days in a row where you can really go in and nurture self-care, grounding, cooling down, hot baths, scrubbing of the skin, these sorts of things. It feels like not deep detox, I know we spoke of that, but like a rubbing off, a cleansing off. I like face scrubs, face peels, anything to do with the skin at the moment that's like shedding the outer layer, because the work's been done from the inside to really support this circulation. They're kind of just bringing my attention there. If you're struggling with something like that for whatever reason, this is coming through. It might just be for one or two of you. Things like peppermint oil and dry brushing, along with like beautiful oil all over the skin. It feels like a nice way that's not like this really sedentary, soft moving Pisces energy. It feels a bit more like, all right, let's get this done, and I like this because it's loving, but it's fun, and it feels just feels more alive. Let's pick some animal totems for the month. Let's perhaps just pick 3, and maybe you choose one intuitively that works for you in regards to the information that's already come through. 3 animal totems, please, for everybody here at Your Heart's Home, for this collective energy reading to work with through the month of April. Ooh, how many have we got? 1, 2, 3. Very interesting. Alrighty. You can sort of see the differences in the energies, right? So we've got the cosmic egg, which I love. This sort of feels like it's got its own interpretation in the book. I always have to mention that. But for me, this is something where I feel like brand new birth energy. This is the new beginning. You can see from that space with all of the color inside of the egg. There's all of these, there's so much goodness in there. And what I want to see that do, or what I see that snake visually doing, is like sliding off of there and like into that clear tunnel. It's like there's light all around it, and there's a readiness. Even though it looks like it's kind of clinging on a little bit, I kind of feel like it's like momentum forward. It feels like the birthing. It feels like the new you. You're here, welcome. And it takes a little bit of courage sometimes to get that momentum going. But with these little steps that we've had a look at today, trying out new things, it's sort of like putting yourself in a different environment to allow for this new you to express itself, to show up, to put to practice all the things that you've learned and integrated. Feels really good and really true right now. 1. The bee. The honey's been around a lot, actually. I've seen this in clients. Bees have been really beautiful magic. Bumblebees are around in Hobart at the moment, and they're so beautiful. Bees in general have a very, very, very magical essence. We sort of don't survive without them, but in essence, working with them energetically can look like working actually with the product of the honey, with wax, candles. It also feels like, I like the buzzing of it. It's like, it feels like it's got this nice rhythm. It's around beauty, the way that they see, this sort of like infrared light piece. I don't know if they actually do, but that's how I see, like through the lens of the bee. I kind of like, I'm looking for warmth and beauty and flowers and floral and nature and springtime, but also like here in Australia, we're in autumn. So it's kind of both seasons, but I just feel like it's a really beautiful energy. Maybe they show up to you as, You know, sometimes when these animals show up physically, it's just a nice moment to stop and go like, where am I? You know, am I in my body right now? What am I aware of? What am I here to be grateful for? They show us the beauty and the simplicity of life, but they're on the go as well. This feels like a pretty action orientated energy. Third one feels like a little bit of a surprise. I say surprise, but I feel like this is the other energy, the third energy we spoke about towards the end. If you've been having a bit of a shitty time and you're tired and you've needed you want more slowness with this energy that's actually moving forward. It feels about like this bathing and simmering energy. So this absorption of light, bringing light into the space of the darkness where the eyes can now see in the dark, but kind of really cultivating this sense of warmth back into the body, moving from fear into love. It feels like when I feel into this, there's like a beautiful opportunity for this. I can see the lizard taking off partway through the month where, again, it feels like that rhythm really comes to pull you out of that experience that has potentially been really challenging. And there is action in resting and refueling the body, but let's just be mindful when there is too much of that, too much sedentary. So it might be baby steps for you if you're here right now, going for a walk when the sun comes up, or you know, making sure that the food that you're putting in your body is supporting you and not making you feel more tired than you really want to be. It also feels like it could be manifesting for those that had the energy around the physical, so the goals and the vision being around the physical body right now. So almost like patterns of laziness coming up to the surface, no judgment here. Or like a feeling of like, okay, I think I've made too many excuses in that arena, and now it feels more tiring to continue to make excuses, and I'm just going to ask for their help, or I'm just going to try it a little bit differently this time. Again, the energy is there to support you. But I also like this for the cooling down energy as well. It kind of feels similar. And perhaps these are 3 totem animals that you work with throughout the whole month, or the 2 in particular, because that feels like the collective energy to kind of really like, this is where we are. Like, we're ready. Let's do this. Let's action this new you, this birthing cosmically, collectively. I do feel like we've had a paradigm shift. And then perhaps we're kind of bouncing between these 2, you know, from week to week, month to month. And I do want to chuck the owl in there as well. But this can feel like that energy, even though the color's not there in the blue in the way that I described the watery energy, this like cooling down of the fire. So making sure that we're not super, super, super hot to the point where like our adrenals and stuff are affected, like a lot of adrenaline, and then we're kind of coming back into stillness, practicing some kind of element of stillness and grounding to really anchor what it is that we're experiencing on a day-to-day, but to stay present to it as well. So nice slow movements. The lizard moves nice and slow and intentionally when it's absorbing all of the lovely light into its body, and then the way in which it moves after that is however he moves. Anything else? I like that. The firefly. Feels good. You know, I really feel like we've come out of a little bit of a patch of like complete and utter what has felt actually like overwhelm. And we can have residue of that overwhelm energy when we're coming out the backside of it. We really can, but it feels like the final layers of, even if that means you're able to talk about your experience a bit more right now, or you're just feeling this, it almost feels like overwhelm stems into an expression of relief, again, because we can see the way through. So overall, I'm loving this energy for April. I really am. It feels courageous. It feels brave. There's a sexy energy there. There's like really beautiful, feels like a deep access to the erotic energy, to sensuality, to intimacy. I feel like if you're in an intimate relationship, or you're in a or you're relating with other, it can be really exploratory inside of your sexual relationship. Kind of feels like trying new things. Maybe you have new toys, new experiences. I like this energy for that. It feels very playful. It feels less serious, less in the mind, and like much more easily able to sort of settle into the body. It also feels like this really nice desire to give when we're full of energy, we've got a lot to offer. So, that can show up sort of intimately, and also feel like that can be in regards if you are single and you're not in a relationship at the moment, that beautiful erotic energy and that sensual energy, there is still pleasure available for you. And it can also be something as beautiful as buying yourself a lovely new jacket or a beautiful new dress to kind of just express this newer version of you, to kind of honor your body. I feel like buy yourself a gift. It kind of just feels super lush. And dance is a really nice expression of this. When I did the collective reading the other day in a different container, something came up around what do you call it, burlesque, this sort of energy. Like I like it. It feels a little bit like exhibitionist kind of a vibe, which is really, really nice. I feel like we've needed a little bit of this. It feels playful, it feels fun, it feels exciting. So I feel like we got lots of good things going on here. And inclusive of all of that is our own ascension journey and the other bits and pieces that we're traveling through. If you want to work with anything more intimately, I'll pop all of my details below for readings. I'm also teaching intuitive development, which I am relabeling intuitive living, as it stems across many boards. I've usually got space for that, different programs and bits and pieces. I show up mostly on Instagram, so you can find me there at Your Heart's Path. But thank you for spending the last little chunk of your day with me. I hope that this gives you some insight into the month, and I look forward to seeing you in May. I'm a May baby, so this should be fun. But let's enjoy April, let that unfold, and I will see you very soon. Bye.